Welcome to Faculty Voices. Marcia Castro, Andelot Professor of Demography at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, is chair of the Brazil Studies program at the David Rockefeller Center for Latin American Studies, DRCLAS. We're talking to her about the recent election in Brazil. Welcome, Marcia.
Thanks, June. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into the specifics of the election and its aftermath, I'd like to ask you a general question, big question. What does Lula's victory mean for the world?
It means a lot, and you can see from the reactions from leaders across the world that have not even been talking to Brazil, because Brazil has been zero in terms of international relations, and everybody reacting really fast, congratulating him. It was pretty much all over the news of every major newspaper. It's really the return of Brazil to the position it should have as a major player internationally. It's the hope that our democracy will be maintained. It's the hope that the Amazon will be saved. It's so many things that anyone can understand why pretty much every single leader would react positively to this. I think Sunday night, the world was turned it in, waiting for the results of the elections. And honestly, I got emails from all over the university, people that were really following the news. So this is a big thing for us, Brazilians, for Brazil as a country, for the Americas, but really for the world.
Thank you. Right now, though, we're a bit on tenterhooks. President Jair Bolsonaro has said he's going to speak today, but he hasn't exactly said when or whether he will concede. What are you hearing? What's your take on this?
Part of me is not surprised. I mean, I don't think he will congratulate Lula, for that matter. I don't know what he's going to say. I think it's going to be something probably very rude. I don't know. I want to wait and see, but I'm not surprised. I honestly think he thought he was going to win. To some extent, his silence gives incentives to what we're seeing on the roads, like blockage and flights canceled because people can't arrive at the airport. I just hope that whatever he says, it's quickly. He should just come and say something. And I just hope he does not say something that will basically ask people to be violent on the streets. That's exactly what I fear. So I hope he just gets this done, facilitates a transition. That's another big question. He can really be a pain in the butt and make transition be really complicated, and just move on. Go do something else with your life and get the heck out of there and let Brazil take its path towards recovery. But I don't know. I hope this happens tonight and calms down people that are on the streets blocking roads and major avenues.
What's your general reading of the mood in Brazil right now, Marcia?
That's an interesting question, because on my immediate circle and from what I read in all the newspapers, people are happy. I mean, people are holding their breath on the result of the election. So, of course, all those that supported Bolsonaro that are still blind and deaf to everything that has been happening, those are probably sad. But I think there is a sense of relief. But at the same time, knowing that this was just the first step to get us back on track, recognizing it's going to be a rocky road. It's not going to be easy to govern for the next 4 years. It's going to be hard. We have major challenges. The budget is going to be a nightmare. We're going to have huge problems to overcome. And the Congress elected will do everything they can to stop changes from happening. But despite of that, we needed him out. So I think there is a sense of relief and a duty of continue to work really hard to now help this government to put us back on track.
Let's talk about some of the specific challenges that are facing Lula. Perhaps it's not the biggest challenge, but I would like to draw first on your knowledge of public health. Brazil has had the most COVID cases after the United States, and Bolsonaro was widely criticized for his handling of the pandemic. So do you think the setback can be remedied? What are the primary challenges in public health? what's happening there?
The list is long, but we need to really strengthen the health system and particularly primary care. One of the top priorities is to get the vaccination of children back in a high coverage as we used to have. Brazil is facing the threat of having the reintroduction of diseases that have been eliminated, for example, polio. This would be a nightmare to have those diseases again. So we need to strengthen primary care. Primary care is the way of giving prevention of problems. And the moment we can strengthen primary care as we used to have, that's going to contribute to reducing problems in the future of chronic diseases, the vaccination, improve prenatal care. So now we go into the health of women, mothers, and children. And all the setbacks we had with children, both on health and education, if we don't focus on this particular group, that's the future. That's the human capital. That's the potential for the development of the country. We have to make sure that those kids are going to have good development. And here it has to be combined, both health and education. So the challenges are many. If we can go back to where we were, let's say in 2015, 16, that would be great, but it's going to take more than 4 years to get there.
Is this one of Lula's priorities?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, health was always one of his priorities, getting back the health system, the SUS, and the primary care, and the program that improves the distribution of physicians across countries. It was always on his priorities. It was also on a set of specific priorities he released on the week of the election. So he does recognize health as one of the important things that we need to be able to recover growth and connected to education as well. So absolutely, this is in his agenda as a top priority.
Now, some of our listeners are Brazilians or Brazilianists who are following Brazil very carefully, but many others are people who are just sort of interested. So could you catch us up on what Lula's priorities are?
To some extent, they are focused on bringing us back. Again, Lula was the president that in the past removed Brazil from the hunger map. And now we are back in the hunger map. It's 33 million people. So he knows how to do this because he has done that. So there is a lot of discussion on recovering some social programs. And it wasn't a single program that took us out of the hunger map. And that's the important thing. It was a combination of programs. This is not about giving out food. It's about improving the local conditions so people have means to produce for themselves, to have resources, to send their kids to school. It's a combination of things. So one of the things is we need to recover those programs that focus on reducing inequalities. That's a key word for Brazil. You can't have a governmental program for Brazil if you don't address inequalities, if you don't focus on the poor. The policy has to be pro-poor. You're talking about income growth, it has to be pro-poor. Lula's government before was like this. So that's one thing he's talking about. The other thing he's talking about is, it's in his program, is about the Amazon. And again, he has done that in the past. When he took term, deforestation was completely out of control. And Marina Silva was the Minister of the Environment, and Brazil had the most intense decline in deforestation during his government. He's again talking about recovering this program, changing some of the laws that were changed during the Bolsonaro government that basically gave all the stimulus for deforestation, illegal gold mining, and all of this. Again, this is a person that knows how to do it because he has done it. And again, the moment the news came out he was president, all those funds that were allocated from the international community, particularly from Denmark, I think, on the Amazon, they blocked it. They said they're frozen. You're not going to use it because you are promoting the destruction of the Amazon. Lula became elected and they said, hey, we're going to invest in the Amazon again. That's a big message. They trust this person to be the one that can actually promote preservation because he has done it. And again, he recognizes the challenges. We are in the middle of a recession. He wants, again, the cash transfers. I mean, he combined cash transfer programs, a series of 4 that were created under Fernando Henrique Cardoso government, created Bolsa Família, And Bolsa Familia was completely destroyed under this government in an attempt to get votes, literally, because there's no way we can sustain the program as it was designed. But going back to a model where you can have the cash transfer for those that are below the poverty line that need this pension in order to have a decent life. And that's the key thing. Again, he has shown that this works. It was under his government that those people that were almost invisible, they made it to the university, and that's important. So he has the history, he has proven he can do it, and a lot of his plan now is if we can at least put Brazil back in that trajectory, we are in a good position.
Do you see the Lula of 2003 as being the same Lula that's going to take office January 1st?
No, of course not. I mean, we are not the same person we were a year ago. We are changing. If we don't change, we're not learning anything. That's the beauty of life. It's dynamic. And of course, he's a different person. He has seen many more things happening. He spent time in jail. They almost destroyed him. He's a very different person, but he has learned. And you could see this from his speeches, the way he positioned himself, the way he did debates. So I think he brings all this experience of having done things in the past, of having making mistakes, of having done things in the right way, of seeing what happened over those 4 years and what people tried to do against him. He's a different person, but he is very conscious of what he can do. He's very conscious that he's only going to have one term. He's not going to go for re-election. Those are important things. So he welcomed, for example, Simone Tebet, right? So he recognizes he needs the support from all those other parties because the Congress is completely against him. He is a different person, but he is the person Brazil needs now. And I'm glad he's a different person, because if he was the same, he wouldn't have learned anything.
In his campaign, Lula sent a letter to evangelical churches that was quite socially conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And that upset many feminist and gay groups. How do you interpret that? Do you see it as a campaign tactic, or do you feel he might feel the need to step back in these human rights concerns?
I think he's going to fight for human rights. I don't think that there's a question on this. But at some point, he has to make a decision. You know, how many people voted for Bolsonaro? 58 million or something like this. There has to be a way to listen to those people. I mean, it was only 2 million difference of votes. There has to be a way to listen to those people and be able to break this barrier and remove the blindness and the deafness that they have. Is it possible? I don't know. But I like to be a person that has hope, but being conscious that this is hard. And I think that's what he's trying to do. If you listen to the speech he made, it's about, I'm here for Brazil. I'm not here for whoever voted for me. I'm here for everybody. It's about uniting. It's about bringing people together. And we had a geographer in Brazil that he used to say, people spend too much energy on our differences instead of the things that unite us. And I think that's what he's trying to do. And I think it's the right thing to do, because in 4 years, we're going to have another election. If we don't try to have a dialogue with all those people, it can happen again.
Do you think a dialogue is possible?
That's what I said. I don't know. But if we don't try, certainly it won't be possible. So I like to believe that he has to do something to try it. And if at the end it's impossible, at least you can say, I did my best to try to establish a dialogue. And that's the quality of a leader. If you have a leader that from the beginning shuts down almost half of people that showed up to vote, that's not a good leader. So I think he's doing the right thing. Is it going to work? We don't know, but he has to try.
So following along that vein, but looking specifically at the Congress, what kind of issues do you think he can get the Congress to go along with him on, and where is it going to be difficult for him to implement reforms?
Oh boy, I think it's going to be difficult in almost everything. I mean, look, we voted for people like the former minister of the environment that initiated all the destruction is there. The former minister of health, when Brazil was having 4,000 deaths a day, is there. The astronaut minister who did nothing for science is there. So it's really worrisome. I honestly think they're going to do whatever they can to block things to advance. And again, it's going to depend a lot on conversations, on trying to change the minds of some of those people that are in the middle without having to give them money, the secret budget, whatever. But I honestly think those people are going to be there to try to stop the changes from happening. And I think it all depends on what legally he can do without having to go through Congress. There's a lot that can be done. There is a document that was released the week before the election on 10 things that can be done in the Amazon that only depends on his decisions. It's not things that are major changes in legislation that you have to request the approval from the Congress. So there are things that he can accomplish without going to the Congress, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a major barrier for changes, for sure.
Could you follow up a little bit on that about the Amazon? I know a lot of people who listen are interested in environmental questions.
Yeah, so I don't have the document here, but there are things that you don't need a change in legislation. So those are local regulations. Those are services that are already in place, but they're not being followed. We have institutions. We have IBAMA, we have Chico Mendes Institute, and those are not acting as they should. We have a system to detect illegal action on the Amazon. And if you look at the number of fines, for example, that were issued in the past few years, it's ridiculous. It's not even close to what they used to be. So just the enforcement of legislation that is already in place and is being completely neglected, this philosophy that, oh, let's not do anything, let's just let things go, that's a big change. And it sends a message. That's the main thing. The message that was being sent by Bolsonaro was basically go there, destroy everything, nothing is going to happen. And we are seeing this also with the illegal mining and so on. Sending a different message is going to be the first step. And you don't have to change the law for that. You just have to enforce the laws that are already in place and are being completely ignored.
So what's your prognosis about what's going to happen now? What is he going to move first on? What are his immediate priorities?
I don't know. I don't want to make a guess, but I think how fast he'll be able to move will really depend on the team that we put together for the transition. It will depend on how much information this government will release for the transition. I mean, the first transition he had when he became president first was from the Fernando Henrique Cardoso government. It was a completely different situation. It was a smooth transition with a lot of cooperation from Fernando Henrique Cardoso government, completely different moment in terms of the economy as well, completely different moment in terms of what's the finances that are being passed on. So if nothing is disclosed at this point, which is not impossible to happen. I mean, again, we don't know how this transition will be. It's going to take some time after January 1st when he takes term, because not much was disclosed to him to allow him to prepare for takeover in January and start the changes. So it's hard to imagine what's going to be the main priority, because it's going to depend on how much he can plan ahead during the transition period. And the guy hasn't even come up to accept that he lost. Needless to say how the transition will take place.
Brazil's in a recession, and yet the most important things that are on Lula's program cost money. How is he going to balance those?
A lot of stuff costs money, and this government is going to leave a hole in the budget. But there is a fiscal reform to happen. Who is going to have the courage to do it? That's one thing. And there are very nice studies from the former president of the central bank, Arminio Fraga, who said if you do a very serious fiscal reform, you can get about 3 percentage points of the GDP that then could be invested in health. In administration, in the government, it's not just about bringing more money. It's about how are you managing the money you have. And there's a lot that you can gain by doing better with the money you already have. And we haven't seen any of doing better in the past few years. So I think Lula has an opportunity both to be able to attract more investment, but also to do better with the scarce resources that he has. And I think he'll try to do that.
He has a lot of reputation as a great negotiator.
Mhm.
Do you really think he's going to be able to carry this off?
I think so. And I think one important thing is, how is he going to build the team? It's not just about the president, it's about the team that he's going to be putting together to help him recover the country. So who are going to be the ministers? Who are going to be all the different advisory teams he's going to assemble? This is going to be absolutely critical. I think he's going to bring a lot of people. For example, I think he's going to involve Simone Tebet, and he should. He needs to bring people, not just from PT. He's not going to do this. He's going to bring other people to support him to be able to move forward his agenda. And that's going to be critical. So as the next few weeks unfold and he starts thinking about who is going to be this team that will compose his government, then we're going to have a better idea of how those things will be done.
Besides political diversity, what should we be looking for as he forms his team?
Diversity should be in many different things, not just political. And Lula is good about this. We have to be able to look at his team, and this team has the face of Brazil. He already said he wants to create the minister of the native population, and I think that's important. I think there were 2 people from indigenous descent that were elected for Congress. So I'm sure he's going to have women composing his government as well. He needs people from different regions. It's the different perspectives. Brazil is too big. You can't have everybody from the Southeast. I'm sorry. I mean, a lot of people in the Southeast doesn't even know what happens in the northern portion of the country. So bringing different perspectives, parties is just a detail, but different perspectives, different realities, different ethnicities, different genders, all of this is going to be important. But above all, it has to be people that the population can trust. No government can succeed if it doesn't build trust from the population. And having this diversity is one initial step so people can trust, because you're going to see people that look like you and represent you. That's going to be important. And it has to be people that bring some experience, people that have done things like this in the past. You know, if you're going to have somebody running an economy, just bring somebody that has experience running an economy or that understands economics, not necessarily had this under this government. That's also about building trust. It's somebody you know that has the skills and the experience to come and contribute, especially because it's going to be so hard. You can't bring somebody that is just starting their careers. I'm sorry, but we need somebody that has tough skin. Seriously, it's going to be so hard. It can't be somebody that in the first problem is going to completely lose it, which we had a lot of those cuckoos in the government. No, it can't be like this. For every problem, there's a solution, and every solution has problems. So you need people that are going to be able to come, do the changes that are necessary. And even if those changes are very dramatic, it's not going to look like you're making a lot of changes, but you're fixing things. And he's good in selecting people. And I hope he really puts together a team that will bring this sense of trust, but above all, will deliver.
That's a great place to end, unless you have something else that you would really like to say.
No, I just want to thank you for doing this. And I hope a lot of people get engaged and pay attention, because we're going to need a lot of help from everybody to keep moving forward this agenda and bring in the best. That's what we do here. We create knowledge. So we got to keep creating the best knowledge to support the agenda and support the changes that are yet to come. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you. We've been listening to Faculty Voices. Marcia Castro, Andelot Professor Demography at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, is chair of the Brazil Studies Program at the David Rockefeller Center for Latin American Studies. DRCLAS.